What if the only way to save your family was to become the very thing you fear the most? On a night soaked in blood, smoke, and betrayal, Jamie Fraser is forced to make a choice that will haunt him forever. Because this time, the enemy is not just outside the walls. It's already inside his soul. The war does not begin with a gunshot, it begins with a decision. And on this night, beneath a sky choked with smoke, Jamie Fraser knows, whatever he chooses next will not just decide the fate of the battle, it will decide the fate of his family. The siege tightens around Savannah like a noose. British cannons roar without mercy, shaking the ground, tearing through defenses, and breaking the spirit of every man still standing. The Patriot lines are crumbling. Supplies are running low. Hope is slipping away. But inside Jamie, something far worse is happening. Because earlier that night, a message arrived. 3 simple words. Send for the devil. At first, it sounded like madness. A desperate whisper from men who had already accepted defeat. But now, as the screams of the wounded echo through the dark, those words refuse to leave his mind. They dig deeper, pulling him towards something dangerous. Something final. Inside a dimly lit room, surrounded by men who no longer trust him, Jamie feels the weight of every past choice pressing down on his chest. Some call him a hero. Others, a traitor. And maybe, tonight, both are true. Because the truth is, he already knows who the devil is. Not a myth. Not a ghost. A man. A name spoken only in fear. A man who does not fight for sides, only for outcomes. And always, at a price. Jamie's hands tighten as the thought forms fully in his mind. Calling this man would mean survival. It could break the siege, save hundreds, maybe even win the war. But it would also mean crossing a line he can never come back from. And Jamie Fraser has already crossed too many. Across the battlefield, unaware of what Jamie is about to do, Claire fights her own war. Inside a crowded medical tent, her hands move quickly, stitching wounds, stopping blood, whispering comfort to men who won't live to see morning. But even as she works, she feels it. That quiet, creeping dread. The kind that doesn't come from war, but from something worse. From Jamie. She saw it in his eyes before he left. That distant look. That silence. The same look he had before making choices that changed everything. And now, she knows. Something is coming. Something they cannot undo. Not far from the front lines, Brianna stands with a rifle in her hands, her face streaked with dirt and sweat. Around her, chaos erupts, gunfire, shouting, men falling. But none of it matters as much as the war inside her heart. Because somewhere out there, Roger is fighting for the other side. Every shot she hears makes her flinch. Every second, she wonders if it's him. Love has turned into distance. Distance into fear. And fear into something unbearable. How do you fight a war when the man you love stands on the opposite side? How do you survive when victory might mean losing everything? Back at the edge of the river, Jamie stands alone now, staring into the darkness. The decision is no longer waiting. It's here. And it demands an answer. The wind carries the distant sound of drums. The enemy is closing in. Time is running out. Jamie exhales slowly and makes his choice. If the devil is what it takes to save them, then so be it. He will become the man who calls him. He will become the man who pays the price. Because for Jamie Fraser, there has never been a line he wouldn't cross for his family. Even if it destroys him. As he steps forward into the shadows, one thought echoes louder than the war behind him: some choices don't save you. They change you forever. And tonight, Jamie Fraser is about to find out exactly what that means in Outlander Season 8. The moment Jamie makes his choice, the world seems to hold its breath. The river lies still, dark as ink, reflecting a sky that no longer promises dawn, only consequences. Every step he takes feels heavier, as if the earth itself knows he is walking towards something that cannot be undone. And then, he sees him. A figure standing just beyond the mist. Tall. Motionless. Waiting. Not like a soldier. Not like a man. Like something that already knows how this ends. Jamie stops a few steps away, his hand hovering near his weapon, though deep down, he understands it would make no difference. Men like this are not defeated by steel alone. You sent for me. The voice is calm. Certain. As if this meeting was inevitable. Jamie says nothing at first. His silence is not fear, it is calculation. Because every word spoken now is part of a bargain that will cost more than blood. Finally, he answers. I. And with that single word, the deal begins. The man steps closer, his face now visible in the faint light. Scars run across his skin like old memories carved into flesh. His eyes hold no anger, no mercy, only purpose. This is not a man who chooses sides. This is a man who chooses outcomes. Behind them, the war continues, cannons, screams, chaos, but here, by the river, everything feels quiet. Controlled. Like the storm has paused, waiting for permission to break. You want the siege to end, the man says, almost casually. You want your people to live. Jamie's jaw tightens. State your price. A faint smile appears. Not warm. Not human. One life. The words land harder than any cannon. Jamie does not react immediately. But inside, something fractures. One life, for many. A fair trade, wouldn't you say? Fair. There is nothing fair about it. Jamie's mind races, faces flash before him. Claire. Brianna. Roger. His family, his blood, his reason for everything. He already knows what kind of man stands in front of him. And what kind of choice this really is. Before he can answer, a voice cuts through the tension. Jamie, no. Claire. She steps forward, breath uneven, eyes locked onto the stranger. She feels it instantly, the danger, the darkness, the wrongness of this moment. This is not the way, she says, her voice steady despite the fear rising inside her. Whatever he's asking, it will not end here. But Jamie doesn't look at her. Because he can't. If he does, he might break. And he cannot afford to break now. We don't have time, he says quietly. If we do nothing, we lose everything. Claire shakes her head, stepping closer. And if you say yes, you might lose it anyway. Silence falls again. The man watches them both, almost amused. Like he has seen this moment play out 100 times before. Like he already knows how it ends. The choice is simple, he says. You delay, more die. You refuse, everyone dies. You accept, he pauses. And only one pays the price. That's how he makes it sound. Simple. But Jamie knows better. Because the one life taken will not just be a death. It will be a wound that never heals. Suddenly, footsteps approach through the trees. Brianna emerges first, her rifle raised, her eyes sharp, until she sees her parents, and the stranger between them. Behind her, Roger appears, equally tense, caught between duty and love. For a moment, no one speaks. 4 lives. One choice. And the man in the middle, holding all of it in his hands. Brianna's voice breaks the silence. Duh, what is this? Jamie finally looks at her. And in that moment, everything inside him shatters. Because now, the choice has a face. The man smiles slightly, as if this is exactly what he was waiting for. Perfect, he murmurs. Now the decision becomes honest. Claire steps protectively closer to Brianna. Roger does the same. A family, standing together. And about to be torn apart. Jamie closes his eyes for just a second. 1 second, to remember who he is. 1 second, to decide who he will become. When he opens them again, something has changed. The war. The fear. The impossible choice. All of it has led to this. I'll do it, Jamie says. The words fall like a blade. Claire's breath catches. Jamie, but he doesn't stop. You want a life, he continues, his voice steady now. Then take mine. The air goes still. Even the stranger pauses, just for a moment. Jamie steps forward, placing himself between the man and his family. I made the call, he says. I brought you here. So the price is mine to pay. Claire shakes her head, tears forming. No, you don't know what you're doing. But Jamie does. For the first time tonight, he truly does. This ends with me, he says softly. The man studies him, carefully. Then slowly, that cold smile returns. No, he says. And that single word changes everything again. Your life is not the one that tips the scales. Jamie's heart drops. Because now, the truth is unavoidable. This was never about him. The man's gaze shifts, past Jamie, locking onto Brianna. The future, he says quietly. That is where the real weight lies. Brianna freezes. Roger steps in front of her instantly. You're not touching her. Claire's hand tightens around her daughter's arm. And Jamie feels something inside him break completely. Because now he understands. Some deals are not meant to be won. Some devils don't bargain. They take. The wind rises. The war grows louder. Time runs out. And standing there, surrounded by the people he would die for, Jamie realizes the cruelest truth of all, saving everyone, might mean losing the one thing he cannot live without. And as the stranger takes one final step forward, the cost of calling the devil is finally about to be paid.